we have some massive reports to break down in today's latest news. Learn the big updates around our efforts to still sign Gvardiol from RB Leipzig. We're finding out that we are preparing to make a mega money move to sign Victor Osimhen in the next summer window. And we have news on Mason Mount as Liverpool are becoming a favourite to sign him in the summer. Big stories, big drops. Hope you guys enjoyed today's news. Hit that like button. Let's get 2k likes, my friends. Let's really get that. And of course, share your thoughts and opinions below in the comment section too. Without wasting no more time, let's start with things and let's break down these Joshua Gvardiol links, because this story isn't coming from any outlet, it's coming from the Times, and the Times is like a big UK outlet that has a lot of prestige. So if they're reporting a story, they're not doing it for clicks and they're not doing it for clout. I'll admit that I was scratching my head before I read the article, but once I've read things, I see things in a different way, so let me break this down and explain it to you guys. As we know, Gvardiol had a very impressive World Cup. He scored recently against Man City, and we understand that over the past few seasons we've been doing the most to try and sign him. At the end of deadline day in the summer, we made a massive last-minute move to try and sign him, which was quickly turned down, with Joshua instead signing a contract extension with RB Leipzig, taking his existing deal to 2027. We recently got some interviews and updates behind that failed move, and here's what Gvardiol had to say after RB Leipzig persuaded him to remain there for another season. As Gvardiol said, "You definitely think about a serious offer from a huge club like Chelsea. Leipzig said they didn't want to sell me. In the end, I really struggled with that decision, but we didn't make an agreement. I am here, I am fine with this because my idea has been to stay here. One season was not enough." So that's some context behind the failed move, but the reality is, Gvardiol has massive Premier League ambitions. He's hoping that once he leaves Leipzig, he comes to the Premier League. And here's where we discuss the contract extension that Gvardiol signed with Leipzig, because it has been revealed now that from 2024, there is a release clause that becomes open and the value is set at 97 million. 2024 is a very long way away. He won't be signing in the next summer window, but during the 24-25 season, Gvardiol could be a realistic option that we could turn to again. Of course, that's going to rely upon many factors. It will depend upon whether certain players live up to their price tag, if certain players live up to their potential. Maybe we have like a different way of playing, a different system. I'm really praying that's not the case, to be fair with you, but I think the club are still maintaining their interest, because in this game, you don't know what's really going to happen. And if you have a chance to sign Gvardiol in the future for the 24-25 season, then I understand maybe why we are still renewing our interest and paying attention to see how things start to develop in the future. We know that Gvardiol has been a long-term club target since he was 17 years old. Guys like Roman and Marina and Co were doing the most to try and sign him back then, so he's been on this club's radar for like a very, very long time. It has been revealed that Gvardiol is happy to stay one more season in anticipation of a 24-25 move, and when you deep it makes a lot of sense. I mean, realistically, in the next window, what clubs need centre-backs, and what clubs have the money to spend nearly 100 million to sign a centre-back in a position that isn't really needed right now? So right now, Gvardiol is getting regular Champions League football. He's in an environment where he can grow and improve as a player and get ready for a future move to any club. And you'd imagine that if big clubs are trying to sign him, we will be in that conversation. We will try our most to try and sign him. And maybe what I'm about to say makes me sound really greedy, but maybe Gvardiol, Koval, Badiashile and Fofana, is that too much to expect from like a future back line? I mean, Gvardiol has the ability to also play as an inverted fullback, in my opinion, because when he plays on the left-hand side for Leipzig, I mean, this guy's like Antonio Rudiger. I mean, he really gets forward down that left-hand side. We never saw that in the World Cup because Croatia have a different way of playing. They were a lot more defensive, but Gvardiol has shown that he can adapt to many different ways of playing, and he's a massive talent. I mean, myself, I tweeted after the Man City Leipzig game that, listen, Gvardiol is a great player, but for that price tag, he's not worth it. But my thinking was for the next window, for the 24-25 season. I kind of feel like it's new rules, so I'm going to keep an open mind. Let's see how our other defensive prospects develop in these next few windows. So right now, let's move on to another big story, and we talk Victor Osimhen. Now, here's how I see this Osimhen news. Ideally, if we had one big target we could sign up front, it's going to be Victor all day. But realistically, because it's going to be quite hard to get a deal like this done, we have to assess other options. So guys like Tammy, even club players we own like Lukaku, I'm sure many other targets like Ramos and many more are going to be part of this conversation. If we could sign one player up front, it is going to be Victor Osimhen. Regardless, we have some interesting news coming out from Italy, and the reports state that we are ready. We are prepared to make a mega money move to sign Osimhen in the summer window. It's been reported that Todd Boehly is more than happy to double Osimhen's existing wages of 4.5 million to around 9 million, which is big for a club like us because currently Boehly and co are trying to dramatically reduce that wage bill. So if they're going to pay Osimhen the big boy money, obviously you understand that he is the striker that the club obviously want to buy. But that isn't the only thing the article had to say. It also mentions a potential price tag, and it seems like De Laurentiis would want around 120 million to 130 million for Osimhen. And I kind of feel like there's only so much money that De Laurentiis can ask for because Osimhen's contract expires in 2025. So once we get to the summer window, he has 2 years left. And as we already understand, once players get to the final 2 years of their deals, this is like a calling card to interested parties to try and make a move and try and sign him. And when it comes to Osimhen and our football club, he's been a fan since he was young. We've seen the many photos of him wearing old Chelsea shirts over the years. We've read the articles suggesting that Didier Drogba is his idol, and we've read articles suggesting that one day he would love to play for us in the Premier League. And that's one of the things I personally love about our affiliation we've had with world-class African talent, because when you have guys like Essien and Mikel and Drogba and co representing your club, it encourages the next generation of great African talents to also have ambitions to one day play for us. So it's really no surprise that we have it a bit easier when it comes to securing Africa's very best. And right now, for me, Osimhen is one of the top 5 strikers in world football right now. The scoring streaks this guy is hitting in 2023 are out of this world as well too. But I also have to say that if Napoli didn't play such a brilliant way of football, if Victor Osimhen wasn't at Napoli over the seasons, just fine-tuning this game, developing and growing, would he necessarily get the goals he's scoring now? Now, I'm not trying to take away his goals, but for me, strikers really are the icing on the cake for most teams. And ideally, when all your structures behind you are on point, like your ability off the ball, how you break teams down, how you play, you sign the right striker to complement whatever game you're playing. And when I see Osimhen, he really is like a penalty box striker. Don't expect many goals outside the box. Napoli play a great counter-attacking game as well too, where he scored a ton of goals in the breakaway. But at the same time, the way they create opportunities in the final third, that really elevates Osimhen's penalty box game. I think even if we sign him, unless we show that we can create opportunities in front of goal, I personally think any striker will struggle for us. And I don't want someone like Osimhen coming here potentially and struggling because we don't have a good way of playing, because it's happened to too many strikers. And when it keeps happening to strikers, it's not because all these strikers you're signing aren't good enough. It's a lot deeper than that. It's about how you're playing and how you're creating for these strikers. But at the same time, I could see how Osimhen complements his team. But for playing possession ball against defensive teams, I think most players are going to struggle regardless. So let's see what happens with this. But at the same time, I can't lie to you and say that I'm not excited by this news, because I've been watching Napoli a lot this season. I love their football, and Osimhen, you've heard my thoughts on him throughout the channel over the past few months, but this guy really is the real deal. So share your thoughts below. Do you want to see Osimhen here next season? Let us know. And right now, we discuss Mason Mount and this continued interest with Liverpool Football Club. So right now, let's discuss these Mason Mount Liverpool links, because many reports in the UK keep suggesting that Liverpool are one of the favourites now to be signing Mason Mount. Obviously, I can kind of understand it. If you're Liverpool, you can offer Mason Mount a contract he actually wants in terms of contract length. You can offer him higher wages, and you can offer him a clear and defined role playing in a midfield 3. That is Mason Mount's best position, playing as an 8. This is common knowledge. The player himself has spoken about this. And listen, from Mason's perspective, I can understand why he might feel aggrieved by how he's been treated by the football club. Now, I know that he's not had a great season. We all know that. But at the same time, let's keep things a bit balanced. How many players over the past few years have also had inconsistent seasons? But why is Mason Mount being targeted for having a bad season when he's falling alongside many other players in the team right now? It's not like he's way below standard compared to anyone else. He's even out the team currently, And we're not seeing much of an improvement in terms of how we're playing and how we're breaking teams down. Because a lot of times, a lot of us feel like if you swap players, if you improve the first team quality, that instantly improves the team. But it doesn't really work like that. Unless there's like a clear, defined way of playing, that's going to undermine any player's game. And listen, I think João Felix is an incredible player. I think he can get even better. But right now himself, playing in the similar role Mount was playing in, he is also struggling in these past few games. So for me, it communicates that there's something deeper than just, the right players playing in the first team. I can understand why Mount may feel a bit undervalued. I mean, he's on 80k a week. Recently, he's been getting the most goals and assists in the team. And listen, these numbers aren't like the best in the world, but considering guys like your Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic, plus many more big money guys on bigger contracts haven't been living up to the same price. That is just reality. I'm going to say this, if Mount did leave for Liverpool or elsewhere, I'm going to be a bit upset because, you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for years, not just like over the past year or two, but, since day one, you know my thoughts and opinions behind the youth team. You know my thoughts and opinions behind me wanting to see guys like Mount, Reece James, Tammy and others break into the team. And at times I felt vindicated for that, especially with that Champions League win. I've seen Mount play live back when he was playing for Cobham during those days, and I knew instantly this guy had something in his game that could make him a first team player, and he hasn't proven me wrong. I think there's something really special when you see a guy from your youth team going into your first team. Man United fans have had this luxury so many times, Rashford, Garnacho, Beckham, Scholes, plus many more. Maybe I'm old school, but I'm always going to love seeing players from my academy breaking into my first team. I think it's like one of the oldest football traditions. It will continue to be like that forever, in my opinion. And finally seeing guys that you've invested time into watching when they were in the academy breaking into the first team. Like for me, I think that is a very special fan experience. I think if Mount was to leave, a guy that has been here since 6 years old, I feel like it could have like a long-term impact on Cobham and the academy, because I think then it would only be exclusively seen as a finishing school. People won't care to break into the first team because they've already told themselves, listen, you're not going to be valued like that, because at this club, they'll sign someone over you instead of developing your actual game. And maybe there is a conversation around how we're actually developing Mason Mount, because I've been saying for a long time, for a guy that already at 24 years old should be playing in one clear defined position, he is still playing across multiple positions. This is not good. This is not right. The only guy that I've seen improve throughout the entire team that has gone to a different level is Reece James. And the reason behind why is that he's playing with a lot more attacking creative freedom, playing as like a more advanced type of fullback, has a license to really get in the books. So it's no surprise that your game is going to improve. But with Mason Mount, I feel like he's hit this crossroads this season where you can't keep playing undefined roles forever and not feel the after effects for them. If clubs like Liverpool and co are offering you opportunities where you can play in your best position, knowing the fact that you're not getting the contract that you want, that might make you decide maybe it's best for me to leave here and go to pastures new. I feel like if Mount was to leave, then you're losing an intangible in the team. You're losing someone that is well respected across all age groups, someone that's well liked within the squad, that's well loved as well too. This is a guy that during our sanction days, he was past using his own money to help the travelling costs for youth players. We've revered guys like John Terry and many others for putting the club first. As fans, we respect that, and I feel like Mason Mount gets the same respect from me for also having that same understanding of this football club. So if we lost out on someone like this, I think it would be quite bad, in my opinion. I know some people might not care, they don't rate him. That's your opinion, bro, you're entitled to that. But for me, I rate the guy. I'm a bit frustrated by his lack of development. Now, of course, Mount's season has not been good. We can't deny that. But is he the first player here to have a bad season? No, it's like his first properly bad season. There's other guys with more money, higher wages that have been inconsistent for way longer than Mason Mount, whose goals and assists, no matter how much they get dismissed, have been important in this team. They have been match-winning goals. He has created match-winning moments. His dead balls and set pieces have been important. His free kicks have got us into the Champions League in that Wolves game. I mean, how can we forget his assist in the Champions League final? Like, why is he quickly getting dismissed and written off as if he's done absolutely nothing? I think it's a bit too much, to be fair. We talk about things like team spirit being very important. these intangibles will always be important because, you know, we're talking about human beings. And I feel like Mount's one of the guys in the team that really brings that unity together. And he's someone that really puts the club first, in my opinion. So if he was to leave, and if these guys don't come to an agreement in the summer, I'll be a bit disappointed. You know, does Mount have to sign a 7-year, 8-year deal? He's asking for 4 years plus 1 year. That's not too crazy. I'm hoping a workaround can be found, because I think if Mount left us, I just think it would be a bad message to send out in the future, in my opinion. So, you guys, on that note, I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. Would you be disappointed if Mount left, or would you be okay with him moving on? Let us know below. I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.